Welcome to day 75 of our school year. Let's get down our beginning fraction. Our denominator is our total amount of school days, which is 180, and our numerator is 75. Now we want to think, is our numerator 75 prime or composite? Well, it's not even, so that doesn't help us out, but it does end in a 5. So if it ends in a 5, that means 5 is a factor. And now we have more than two factors because we have 1 itself and 5. So that means it is composite. If you're not sure, you can always check on your prime number sieve and see that it's not circled. So that means we need to do the prime factorization for both our numerator and our denominator. Just in case you've forgotten, our first 5 prime are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Those are the main ones we'll use, but any prime number would work here. Let's see, 180, that ends in a 0, so I can divide by 5. I can get 35s out of 180 because that's 150. That leaves 30, so that's 6 groups of 5. Let's see, 36 is even, so I can divide by 2. Can't do half of 3, but I can do half of 2 tens, which is 1 10, leaving 16. Half of 16 is 8. Still even. Half of 18 is 9. 9 can be divided by 3. I get 3. When I get to a prime number, I am done. 75, that ends in a 5, so I can divide by 5. I can get 10 5s out of 70, that's 50. That leaves 25, so it's 5. Again, it ends in a 5, so I can divide by 5. I get 3. When I get to a prime number, I'm done. Okay, let's do our prime factorization. From least to greatest, 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. And here I have 3 times 5 times 5. So let's see what we have in common. I have a 3 times 5 here. I have a 3 times 5 here. So that means our greatest common factor is 3 times 5, which is 15. That leaves a 5 in the numerator. 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12 in the denominator. Let's go ahead and make our groups of 15. So 3 groups of 5 is 15. Your groups do not have to look like mine. Just make sure you have 15 in each group. And you do need to keep your shaded separated from your unshaded, because otherwise we're going to add fractions within fractions. And that's just more work than we need to do. Alright, so now I have all my groups of 15. I'm going to count them up to see my total amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 groups of 15. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shaded in. Okay, now that I've done my division with my model, let's go ahead and do the division with our algorithm. We're dividing into groups of 15. So 180 divided into groups of 15, and 75 divided into groups of 15. I'm going to do 10 groups of 15 because 10 times 15 just moves everything over a place. So that the 1s go to the 10s and the 10s go to the 100s. Numbers the same, 0's a game, more on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, 0's a game. Bring the 30 up here. 2 times 15 is 30. Numbers the same, 0's a game. Add these together, 10 plus 2 is 12. So that's our final quotient. Here I'm going to do 2 groups of 15, which is 30. Okay, I have more on top, no need to stop. More on top, no need to stop. Bring that 45 up here. Do another 2 groups of 15, which is 30. More on top, no need to stop. More on top, no need to stop. Bring that 15 up here. That's 1 group of 15. 1 times 15 is 15. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. Add these partial quotients. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Now we need to check. Divisor times quotient plus remainder. Divisor times quotient plus remainder. Since our remainder is 0 for both, and the identity property of addition says when you add 0, it stays the same. We don't need to actually add the 0. Okay, so here I'm doing 2-digit multiplication. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 groups of 10 is 5 tens, plus 1 more is 6. Okay, now I'm done with the 5. Now I'm looking at the 10 here. So the 10 moves it over a place. 1 group of 2 is 2. 1 group of 1 is 1. Add these partial products together. You get 0, 8, 1. Okay, 5 groups of 5 is 25. 5 groups of 10 is 5 tens, plus 2 more tens is 7 tens. 75 matches our dividend here. 180 matches our dividend up here, so that checks. That means my numerator is definitely 5, and my denominator is definitely 12. Okay, let's go ahead and fill in our data collection page. Okay, we are on trimester 2, week 4. Our date 12/2/19, and our fraction for today is 5/12. Okay, so we did groups of 15. Let's look at our 15. We're missing quite a few because we only have 1 12. 2 12s. Well, that is equivalent to 1/6. That was the simplest form. It's also equivalent to 3/18, 5/30, 6/36, 10/60, 15/90, as well as our beginning fraction. Okay, and then 3 12ths. Well, its simplest form is 1/4. Okay, but it is also equivalent to 5/20, 9/36, 15/60, and the beginning fraction. Then we have 4 12ths, which the simplest form is 1/3. That is our equivalent fraction in lowest terms. Okay, but it's also equivalent to 6/18, 10/30, 12/36, 15/45, 20/60, 30/90, and the beginning fraction. And then today, 5 12ths is our simplest form. There's no lines underneath it because it is the equivalent fraction in the lowest terms. But we do have an equivalent fraction in the 5s and the 3s, because 5 and 3 are also common factors. But 15 was our greatest common factor. All right, let's go ahead and put your number line away, erase your worksheet, and thank you for joining me.